Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Netflix's Squid Game has taken the world by storm due to its intense violent premise in which low-income debt-ridden citizens participated in a series of survival games that gave them a chance to win billions of dollars. Each game is a series full of high-stakes scenarios and saw the deaths of countless participants. But some games were far more complicated than the others. The games that occurred during the Squid Games were inspired by childhood playground games. The games were given new, terrifying, and violent, deadly rules. With these dangerous requirements considered, let's see the games in the same order in which they appeared in the Squid Game series. Before we get into the video, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do click on like, share and subscribe and help us grow by sharing our videos to your family and friends. Let's have a quick introduction of the characters in the Squid Game series. Jung-jae plays Joo-ryoung, number 456. He is a divorcee chauffeur and a gambling addict. He lives with his mother and struggles to support his daughter financially. He participates in this game to settle his debts and to prove himself financially stable enough to have the custody of his daughter, who is to leave to the United States with her mother and stepfather. Next is Ho-yeon, who plays Kang Se-byuk, number 67, a North Korean defector. She enters the game to pay for a broker who can rescue her parents from across the border, and with the prize money she plans to buy her house for herself to live in with her family. Next is Park Hae-soo, who plays the character Joo-ryoung, number 218. The former head of the investment team at the securities companies. He was a junior classmate to Ji-hung and studied at Seoul National University. He is currently wanted by the police for stealing money from the clients and raking up massive debts from bad investments. The next character is Ha-joon, who plays the character Hwang. He is a police officer who sneaks into the game as a guard to find his missing brother. Anupam Tripathi plays Abdul Ali, a migrant worker from Pakistan, who enters the game to provide for his young family after his employer refused to pay him for months together. Joo-ryoung plays Han Mi-neon, number 212. She is a loud, manipulative con woman. Her reasons for entering the game are never explained, but she boasts that she is charged 5 times for fraud. Sung-tae plays Yeong-su, number 101. He is a gangster who enters the game to settle his massive gambling debts, which includes the money he stole from his boss and his underlings. Yeong-su plays Ho-yeon, number 001. He is an elderly man with brain tumor who prefers playing the game as opposed to waiting to die in the outside world. Mi plays Joo-ryoung, number 240, a young woman who has just been released from the prison after killing her abusive father. And finally, the front man, who is also known as In-ho, is in charge of making sure that the games run smoothly. He takes care of any disturbance and is responsible for welcoming and entertaining the VIPs. I've uploaded 2 videos, one explaining the Squid Game characters and the other the effects of Squid Games globally. If you have not checked the video, please click on the link given in the description. Now let's get started and get moving to the video. The first game, Red Light, Green Light. It is the first game that is played in the very first episode of Squid Game. Definitely sets a tone for not just how difficult and deadly the competition could get. The main objective was to cross the finish line before the running out of time, but at random intervals in between, players had to freeze in their places. Perhaps the most familiar childhood game played in the series, this version of the red light green light was far more intense than ever seen. Even the slightest of the accidental movement during the frozen period would result in a player's death. Yes, if the players failed to reach the finish line before the time ran out, they would too be killed, even if their freezing skills were up to par. Overall, red light green light required intense stamina, fast movement and quick reaction, making it extremely difficult to survive. And yet perhaps red light green light was the first game played because the general chances of surviving were at a bit higher than the other games. Second game was the Sugar Honeycombs. Sugar Honeycombs was the second game that the players played in the Squid Game and were forced to participate in. The task required carving designated shapes out of the hardened honeycomb, but if their shapes were broken even a little bit, they would meet their immediate death. Compared to the other games, Sugar Honeycomb was by far the easiest as the chance of survival were completely up to the individual. Unfortunately, players had to pick the shapes they'd be carving out before they even know what they've been doing, and some shapes were far more easier to break apart than the others, making the game very in difficulty. Regardless, Sugar Honeycombs was not too difficult if players had enough patience and the right strategy, such as Ji-hung's idea of efficiently licking the shape out of the honeycomb rather than carve it out. The third game, Tug of War. At first, Tug of War seemed to only require brute strength, but as the smartest Squid Game character, Il-nam points out there is plenty of strategy involved. Il-nam explained that Tug of War is about balance, and he led the team through a rhythmic leaning and pulling that got them ahead. When they started to falter, Sang-woo came up with a risky yet effective strategy to step forward for a moment to throw the other team off balance. Still, the players needed to be generally strong team as physical strength was the main factor towards winning the tug of war. Plus, without the genius last-minute strategizing that Il-san and Sang-woo shared with their teammates, they all would have surely died during the game. Instead, proving that tug of war was one of the highest stake games and quite a difficult feat to win. The fourth game, Marbles. Though it is the game that caused some of the most heartbreaking deaths in Squid Game, marbles were technically not quite as difficult as some of the other games. This is mainly due to the fact that players were able to choose most of their own rules. The only rules set for marbles that was one player of each duo must be declared the winner by obtaining the 20 marbles. How that obtaining occurred was completely up to the player's discretion. Some players chose to take an easy route such as Sae-baek and Joo-ryoung, who waited till the last moment to play their marble game, only for Joo-ryoung to let Sae-baek win anyway. Others overly complicated the game, such as Dong-hyuk chose to change the rules once he started to lose the first game, and then he and his teammate decided upon. Still, the survival rate of marbles is only 50%, so the chances of making it through the game were already pretty slim, regardless of how easy or difficult the chosen rules were. Fifth game, Glass Stepping Stones. Glass Stepping Stones was a game that varied in difficulty for players depending on the order of participation. The players were tasked with crossing a bridge made up of glass, with some of the glass being able to withstand weight while the others would break instantly. Each contestant was forced to pick a number prior to participating that determined the order in which they would cross the bridge. Figuring out which glass panes were safe to walk was mostly upon to chance, but those with higher numbers were lucky enough to watch the others attempt to cross first, affording them the knowledge of where to step. Unfortunately for those with earlier numbers, their chances of dying were far higher than that of the others, making the game much more difficult for them. And although it didn't happen on screen, the VRB suggested that even the higher number had a chance of dying too, given that they could run out of time and cross. Three winners in this game: Ji-hung, Sang-woo and Se-byung, the North Korean defector. Even though she won the game, the glass bridge was destroyed. Some of the glass pieces wedged her abdomen and caused her eventual death. The sixth and the final game is the Squid Game. The final titular game, Squid Game, was the most dangerous, although there were established rules regarding the offense versus defense and stepping into the triangle for win. What Squid Game really boiled down was to a one-on-one physical fight to death. The first player to kill the other or wound them enough to make it to the winning triangle became the official winner of the entire Squid Game. Any form of violence was allowed during this final game between Ji-hung and Sang-woo, and the two finally definitely did not hold back during most of their battle. The lack of rules resulted in one of the series' most intense, bloody and gruesome fights, clearly based solely on the physical strength, perhaps mixed with some adrenaline. But since the game was the only one-on-one battle, the players did not have to worry about any outside forces interfering with their fight. Finally, the riot. It is a special game. One of the most horrific situations in Squid Game started because of the antagonist character, Yeong-su, a deadly nighttime riot. The game officials allowed this to happen, labeling it as a special game because the game was impromptu and there were no set rules whatsoever. So players had no control over what occurred. This resulted in the deaths of many participants. During the night when the lights were turned off, the players attacked each other. The players had to be quick to react, overtly alert of their surroundings, near expert at fighting back or simply rely on luck. The main characters were smart enough to stick together as a team, allowing for the safety in numbers. Still, the riot was a complete bloodbath. Survival relied on intense strength and sharp wit, making it the most brutal game of all. With this, we come to the end of this video. Among the games listed, which do you think is the most difficult game and why? Please leave your comments in the comment section below. I have posted a couple of videos on the Squid Game characters explained as well as the effects of Squid Games globally. Please do check out these videos if you have not checked them out. If you like this video, please click on like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell icon so that you'll get a notification as and when I post this video. I'll be back soon with another video. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye.